Hey guys, how are you doing? My name is Andrea Rivera, and I'm going to talk you guys about stucco on masonry and concrete substrates, limitations and advantages of stucco, and add their masonry veneer. In order to start, it is important to know what is stucco. So, a stucco is a cement-based plaster that is applied over walls and other surfaces inside and outside of the buildings, and it is made from cement and sand and lime and hardens into a highly durable material that requires little maintenance. Like traditional decorative plasters, stucco can be trowel, brushed, or otherwise textured to create a variety of finish effects. Stucco typically is applied over a galvanized wire mesh called lath, which helps the stucco adhere to the supporting structure and strengthens the entire assembly. Stucco usually is mixed on side and it's applied in 3 coats. So let's see what are the stucco coats. The stucco coats are metal stucco lath that are installed over a moisture membrane applied to the wall sheeting. The lath is a structural mesh with holes that are about 1/4 inches wide. The first coat of wet stucco squeezes through the holes to create a strong connection to the lath. Traditional or 3-coat stucco is applied over the lath in 3 thin coats: the scratch coat, the brown coat, and the finish coat, as you can see in the picture. The scratch coat is applied first and it's embedded into the metal lath to provide a strong base for other 2 coats. It is called the scratch coat because it is often sacrificed with a small raking tool to create a grooved texture. The grooves improve the bond of the second coat. The second coat or brown coat is applied next and its towel is smoothed to create an even surface for the finished coat. The finished coat is applied last, creating the decorative finish on the wall surface. This is also the coat that it's colored if it's desired. The total thickness of the 3 coats is approximately 7/8 inches. So, building code standards on stucco. The International Building Code (IBC) provides recommendations for stucco installations, including the minimum time delay between each coat. In addition, there are 2 standards from the American Society for Testing and Materials (ASTM) that regulate the application of stucco. So let's see some example. ASTM C926 standard specification for application of Portland cement-based plasters. ASTM C 1063 standard specification for installation of lathing and furring to receive interior and exterior Portland cement-based plaster. So mixing stucco. Because stucco is cement-based and hardens when mixed with water, it must be mixed just prior to application. It cannot be sold in premixed form. Premixed stucco is a dry mixture containing all of the necessary ingredients, and all you add is water. These commercially prepared stucco mixes can be an easy solution to many construction projects. Traditionally, stucco is mixed on site using bulk materials. The trick to creating your own stucco mix is getting every batch exactly the same. A basic stucco mix consists of 3 parts of sand, 1 part of Portland cement, hydrated lime to 10% of the cement by volume, and water. The slower stucco dries, the stronger it becomes. In sunny and hot locations, stucco must be shaded to prevent the dehydration of the stucco mixture. When using pre-mixed stucco, it's best to follow the manufacturer's instructions. We will never have to apply stucco in the weather temperature if the weather temperature is lower than 40 grades Fahrenheit. Let's talk about the coloring stucco, okay? Which is the finish in the finish coat. So stucco can be mixed with pigments. in order to create a range of colors, or it can be used without pigments and simply bear the natural grade of its cement. Some contractors tend to use warm colors such as yellow, pink, or orange, but beige and white are perhaps the most common colors used for stucco. Stucco can be painted, but it must cure for at least 6 weeks prior to paint. Coloring stucco with pigments is far preferable to painting it because paint creates a regular maintenance issue while pre-mixed coloring is permanent. Okay, so let's see the advantages of using stucco. So, traditional Portland cement plaster known as stucco provide the strength, durability, and thoroughness in Portland cement plaster. A stucco or Portland cement plaster is a very versatile facing material that can be applied to flat or curved surfaces either inside or outside any building or structure. Stucco has great appeal as a surface finish because of its utility, low first cost, and minimum need for maintenance. In its hardened state, plaster is a desirable facing material, hard, strong, fire resistant, and color retentive. Because plaster is also breathable or able to transmit moisture vapor, water that gets behind it does not become trapped. That makes it resistant to root and fungus. Plaster has proved to be a durable wall cover in all climates, whether wet, dry, hot, or cold. The final appearance of the finished coat can be varied by changing the size and shape of the aggregate, using color cement, as I mentioned before, adding pigments, changing the consistency of the finished mix, the method of equipment used for plastering, and the plasterer's skill in manipulating the finished coat. Portland cement plaster is applied either by hand or machine to exterior and interior wall surfaces in 2 or 3 coats. It may be applied directly to a solid base such as masonry or concrete walls, or it can be also applied to a metal lath attached to frame construction, solid masonry, or concrete structure or concrete construction. Portland cement plaster has high impact resistance, sheds water, but breathes, allowing water vapor to escape. It is a proven system that works in all climates, and it will prevent the appearance of fungus, as I mentioned before. That's important that it's breathable. Appearance is an important consideration in selection of a wall covering. You can select a color and texture consistent with the message and image you wish to convey. Another advantage of using stucco is that texture is achieved by selecting aggregate size, controlling finish mix, consistency, and using special treatment techniques during and after application of the finish coat plaster. Texture gives substance and character to the plaster surface. It can be used to provide highlights, depth, continuity, segmentation, and even achieve the look of a completely different construction material, such as wood, timbers, brick, or stone masonry constructions. To confirm the suitability of a desired color and texture, be sure to ask your plasterer to provide a sample panel for evaluation first prior to start working. Portland cement plaster has a well-documented history of proven performance in extreme climates, from the desert southwest of Arizona to the severe winters of Minnesota to the hot humidity from Florida summers, and it performs in all the climates. That's why it's called versatile, right? That durability is complemented by its versatility. Portland cement plaster provides an ideal finish or cladding for any building construction system, including concrete masonry, brick masonry, wood frame, or steel frame. Portland cement stucco can be applied to any flat or curved surface, either inside or outside. So as we mentioned before, traditional stucco is ideal for concrete wall systems. The durability and versatility of traditional Portland cement stucco could provide a great finish for other concrete building systems, including concrete panels, insulating concrete forms, and autoclaved aerated concrete. Depending on the condition of the concrete surface, Portland cement plaster may be directly bound to the concrete or applied to metal lad attached to the wall. When directly bonded to the concrete, a dash-bond coat or surface applied bonding agent is typically needed to enhance the bond between the plaster and the concrete. When concrete surfaces are extremely smooth or contaminated with excessive form oil, metal lad is used as a plaster base. Metal lad can be mechanically attached to concrete, insulating concrete forms, or to autoclave aerated concrete walls to provide a base for durable traditional three-coat Portland cement plaster exterior. So we also see stucco works on frame construction. So over the years, cement plaster has been used over frame construction in the United States since before the turn of the century, long enough to develop proven procedures for installation. When Portland cement plaster is selected as the exterior surface for frame construction, metal lad is attached to frame members. Vapor permeable, water resistant paper is applied over sheeting before attachment of the lad. The paper protects the sheeting and the interior of the wall from outside moisture intrusion without trapping moisture vapor into the wall. Veneer design considerations. So what's a masonry veneer? Veneer is a non-constructional facing of brick, stone, concrete, masonry, or other masonry materials securely attached to a wall or backing. Veneers provide exterior wall finish and transfer out of plane loads directly to the backing. But they are not considered to add to the load resisting capacity of the wall system. Baking material may be masonry concrete, wood studs, or steel studs. There are basically two types of veneer: anchor veneer and other veneer. They differ by the method used to attack the veneer to the baking, as illustrated in this figure. Unless otherwise noted, veneer requires are those contained in the International Building Code and Building Code requirements for masonry structures. For the purposes of design, veneer is assumed to support no load other than its own weight. The baking must be designed to support the lateral, and in some instances, the vertical loads imposed by the veneer, in addition to the design loads on the wall, since it is assumed the veneer does not add to the strength of the wall. Masonry veneers are typically designed using prescriptive code requirements that have been developed based on judgment and successful performance. The prescriptive requirements relate to size and spacing of anchors and methods of attachment and are described in the following sections that we are going to see in class. The assembly can be designed as non-composite cavity wall, where the out-of-plane loads are distributed to the two widest in proportion to their relative stiffness.
Thank you very much, guys, for your attention. I hope you find this helpful and it helps you understand more about masonry veneers, the stucco masonry and concrete substrates, the limitations and advantages of a stucco, and the other masonry veneers. Thank you very much. Have a good one.